Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Kashka Williams. We are TSARE, and this is a There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. And we got Mr. Roe from Flint, who is the professional licensed realtor, wholesaler, investor. Just was telling us some good things that he has in the road works. And I'm going to ask you to give us a much better introduction into who you are.
All right. Well, thank you for welcoming me on the show. My name is Roemon Murphy. I go by Ro. I'm an identical twin. That's why it's also shortened just for Ro, or you call me Twin. My twin lives in Texas. He recently moved this week from Flint. So he moved down to Houston. He also does the wholesaling side of things. I guess we got a couple restaurants in Flint who we're partnered with as well. It's called Crazy Legs, and I've been a realtor since 2015.
Cool. How long you been investing?
I've been investing since 2015 as well. I started investing before I actually had my license.
Oh, sweet.
And the way I came about that was my grandmother, she couldn't keep up with the property taxes on her home.
Okay.
And I was like, my brothers and I, we was like, well, we'll just take care of it for you since,
Sweet.
it's the house paid for, so we keep up with the taxes, a couple $1,000, a month.
Yeah.
Well, not a month, a year, yeah.
Oh, that was cool. We just talked about that. Yeah, we sang grandma's house.
Yeah, she's had the house for 48 years,
Right.
So it's also a lot longer than I'm even old, you know,
Right.
so definitely want to keep it inside of the family.
Right.
And
So you
also,
still have it?
Yes, we still have it. Yeah, don't plan on getting rid of it at all.
That's amazing.
cool.
Is that in Flint?
It's in Mount Morris, right on the outskirts of Flint.
All right.
Okay. So
yeah, school is about Mount Morris too, yeah.
Yeah, Mount Morris is located right outside of Flint. All right, so if you were to kind of think about it, it would be more or less like Highland Park or, I'm trying to think of something that's like right on the right outskirts, Ferndale.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
All
very
right.
close. They touch, but
is that
right
where
now.
people leave Flint and go to, or is that it's just
at one point it was.
Okay.
Because it was all new development that was over there, but this is about 30 years ago. And so people left Flint and started flooding out to Mount Morris. This is also a little bit around the time when GM started leaving Flint. And so they started going directly to there because they still had a plant that was right there on the outskirts.
Okay. Cool.
So, I mean, I'm going to be like super intrigued about this because I'm one of the people, so I'm an investor and then I do a lot of shopping for buyers, but sometimes Flint pops up and I just be, flipping and clicking and looking at the real estate and I don't know anything about it. And I'm always like, man, there are beautiful properties and land out that way.
Right. So a lot of people, when they actually started moving to Flint, it was back in the early 1900s. It was because of the Crown Victorian homes that was being built there. And so that made a lot of people actually come there because of the infrastructure was state of the art at the time. Charles Stewart Mott is the person who laid out the foundation for Flint. When it comes to the streets, when it comes to the sewage, all that. He laid out how Flint would be. And to tie it back around, everyone knows about the water crisis.
Right.
So now we're going to have a state-of-the-art infrastructure, that's going to be a focal point for the rest of America because everyone else is now starting to have corroded pipes and lead inside of their water as well. So we're going to be a testing ground and a focal point for the rest of America.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
Because it's like
How you know
that.
the history like this, man?
Well, I read a book called The Bronze Pillar by Rhonda Sanders. And she dated it from when Flint was first plotted to all the way to 95. The book is no longer in circulation. And she also worked for the Flint Journal. But they ran her out of this from the news. She's still within the city, but they ran her out of the news because it's too much vital information that she's giving within that book, from how it was actually built to also how it spills out around the rest of America.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Charles Stewart Mott, he had a big influence on that. He's also the co-owner of General Motors, the largest shareholder there. Even to this date, his family still owns pretty much all of that.
Wow.
Even when it comes to my applesauce and so forth, their family is also connected directly towards that. So Flint was actually farmland.
Right.
And then they ended up dividing up the city from there to different sections.
It reminds me of so it sounds like Henry Ford and Dearborn.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yes. So General Motors was founded in Flint and then expanded down to Detroit. Most people don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are the vehicle city, and this is the motor city.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Vehicle City.
Yeah, because it also started with carriages. It started with carriages,
Okay.
and so they started making horse carriages and so forth, and then Fisher Body came into play. They moved everything directly down this way because it's a bigger hub, and so they're able to export, import a lot faster and so forth.
Water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because you were saying that it's going to be, again, a state-of-the-art infrastructure based on, I'm guessing, the repairs or whatever they did to correct the water crisis.
Correct.
Do you have any more information on that and like what the infrastructure is or like what's been put in place exactly?
Yes. So they have replaced about, I'll say, 60 to 70% of the pipes. It's not done everywhere throughout the city because, there were delays with COVID and so forth. But for the majority of the part, everything has been changed for the most part. There is clean water that's actually being pumped into there. But it's still safe at this point. I still personally have filters on my home
Right.
to make sure that the water is coming out in a healthy manner, so it's not harmful for the skin or anything. I don't drink it, and I still cook with bottled water,
Okay.
but I don't, consume it.
Right.
So people that are coming into the city that are purchasing homes, so as an investor, like what is the biggest concern that you're seeing once you go to resell the property?
Okay, well, there's no concerns when it comes to reselling the property. The biggest thing is people just don't have the knowledge on Flint.
Right.
It's being overshadowed with more negative things than the positive.
Right.
And so there honestly is any hiccups when we come to sell it because once we actually inform them about what's going on inside of Flint, they're more than willing to come inside the city and see exactly what's going on for themselves because the infrastructure is changing. It's new sidewalks that's being put into place. Street lights are being put up. All gas lines have been changed throughout the city. So the infrastructure is changing, but people don't see all of that until they actually come inside of Flint.
Right. So, but every part of Flint wasn't impacted by the water, right?
No.
Okay.
So you do have Flint, which is the actual city, then you have the township right on the outskirts.
Right.
And so people lump those together because it's Flint City and then it's also Flint Township.
Okay.
And then it's also a different side that pretty much has its own water source. I'll call it the Miller Road Mansions because it's nothing but pretty much mansions over there.
Okay.
I forget the name of the subdivision offhand. It's Woodside something. Right. But yeah, they have their own water source. They also have their own patrol in the area. Like, yeah, that's an elite area to pretty much live in.
Okay.
Got their own
So
water source.
so somebody from out of state looking, or either from here, just lumping Flint all together, that would be like a foolish mistake, right? Okay.
Right. Because Flint has a lot of pocket areas.
Okay.
And so you can be secluded over in an area still within the city, but you aren't affected by any of the chaos that goes on or anything of that nature.
Right. Similar to Detroit
Yeah.
in so many
So
ways.
y'all got a lot of pockets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's
Flint
good.
and Detroit are pretty much the same. Detroit is just 10 times bigger.
Right.
But the economy base is pretty much the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you feel like you've been successful as an investor because you're continuously investing there, correct?
Yes. I've been pretty successful, I would say, because I know others who aren't as successful. So, But what keeps me inside of Flint, though, is because I have family there. And I know that they aren't leaving. So I would do everything in my best, ability to make the conditions a little bit better for those, and then for them, and then those that surround them as well. One thing I did do last year is run for Flint School Board, just because they have so many properties that's just sitting. Those are assets.
Wait, the school board has them?
Yes,
Okay.
and the school board owns them.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Detroit kind of had that similar.
yeah,
Every-
and those can
Yeah.
easily be converted into some type of community learning center,
Right.
or either sold off or renovated so that you can actually put kids back into, because Flint only has one high school right now.
Right.
It's been trickled down, and the city's becoming centralized because it's about to go through its renaissance phase.
Right.
And so, in order to grow it, you got to shrink it to grow it back out. So that's where the city is now. But they have, I don't want to get the number wrong, but I want to say it is 13 elementaries. I know it's 3 high schools. That's just sitting there.
Right.
And all of those can either be sold or renovated in some type of manner so that it's actually useful for the community.
Sweet.
So y'all had 4 high schools at one time.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
we had Central, Northwestern, Southwestern, and Northern.
Yeah. Sweet. So from an investment standpoint, what can someone expect for rental rates? Like 3-bedroom, 1,000 square foot home or something like that. What are like some of the rental rates and ranges there?
There has been an increase over this past year when it comes to rental properties. At once they were renting for probably about $650, $700,
Right.
but recently it's probably gone up to probably $850, $900.
Okay.
And then you probably can get a little bit more if you go through Section 8 or whatnot. We do have a couple individuals who are starting to come into the Flint area, and they're doing transition homes.
Right.
And so they're doing it room by room, and they're making a lot more money that way. And so they're starting to see probably about $1,200 when it comes to that on a monthly basis.
Okay. Makes sense. So,
Yeah, I mean, he spoke about a few things that, I think we try to hit on. It's like, what do you look for in the area? Like, what are the changes? You kind of mentioned, like, the sidewalks and the street lights and, like, where they're going in and people are spending money within the community, and they're not spending that money in that community for no reason.
right.
Asia.
Yeah, Asia was
Asia
on here. She
was
mentioned
talking
that
about
too.
that,
Yeah. So you're saying this is kind of like the ground floor for investors if they want to get in now versus waiting until all the infrastructure is there.
Right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, because it's going to shoot up after that. And I always tell people this. It's not too many places in America where you can buy a house for under $100,000.
Right.
So you might as well look into those areas in which you can get a nice return for your money.
So buy low.
Yeah.
Buy low, sell high. But so I thought about Flint before. I'm from Pontiac. So what's the job situation down there?
Okay. Jobs opportunity is there. I'm sure it's just like any other place in America. But our largest industry that actually employs is General Motors. And then secondly, it's going to be the colleges. So we got Kettering University, and then we also have my community college, and then small branches like MSU, U of M.
Right.
So the second largest branch outside of Ann Arbor is Flint when it comes to U of M. And a lot of people are starting to come there because of the medical.
Okay.
And it's also cheaper than being directly down in Ann Arbor.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you got the colleges, and GM
Yeah.
are the major employers there.
Right, right.
So the average person coming to rent a property there, that's more than likely where they're more likely to work there.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've been having a lot of out-of-state investors come up and buy property.
Right.
And I guess it's because it's a lot cheaper than it is out on the West Coast.
Right.
Properties being dollars, you could come to Flint and buy 10 of them,
Right.
15 of them. So,
Right.
Because, I mean, people that live in the community still need places to live.
right, right.
And, all right, do you still see, how's the neighborhoods changed? Like, is it more full than it has been over the years?
Yes, like on the street. So I moved into one of my rental properties, and it's only 2 that's on the block that's actually rental properties now. Everyone else is homeowners, and we got
that's
about
good.
20 on our block.
Okay.
Right. So, because I looked at y'all inventory, so a $20,000-$30,000 house in Flint is way better than what we getting in Detroit.
Right.
Absolutely.
In most cases, the thing is, I don't know the area, I don't know the neighborhoods like that, but just from the looks of it, you get more money, you get more bang for your buck
Right,
in Flint.
right.
How would because do you have any properties in Detroit?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
will this year though.
Okay, because I want to see how you compare the two.
So you been looking though? Where you been looking at in Detroit?
Over by the bailout area, I'm looking to more or less get a condo, just because I know it'd be safe, my security,
Right.
and so forth. So
What about a co-op?
Right.
I would never.
Don't do a co-op.
Not Reggie about to hate.
co-op.
It's
is
just
cool.
as nice as a condo. Yeah, don't listen to Reggie.
we gonna do a show on co-ops and condos. Yeah. So Flint, is there any new development as far as housing is concerned, single family or apartment buildings or anything like that?
Okay, yes, there definitely is. So last year they invested $200 million downtown, and they also built up this area called Smith Village. I don't know the total number of units that they put
Okay.
over there, but it's all, they built it like row homes.
Okay.
And so it's all new nice development that's directly down there.
Are these rental properties or for sale?
Yes, they're rental properties.
Okay.
And
All
so I have a godmother as well who also used to own that land right there. And she was building all single family homes.
Okay.
She ended up getting in a dispute with the city because they wanted to put more apartments right there.
Okay.
Instead of single family homes. Reason being the dispute came is because she didn't want to create generational renters.
Right.
She wanted to have people have actual homes that they could pass along to their kids and so forth. So that's where the big dispute became between those two. But I guess the city overall.
Yeah.
That's a new term, I
Yeah.
think, that we got on our show right now.
Right.
Generational renters.
Right. Yeah. Because we see it often. So-
Yeah,
thing.
it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm highlighting it because I think that, it's just trying to influence mindset change.
Right.
Right.
And I think your godmother was doing a great thing with even considering that.
So what did they use to win that argument?
It's still tied up in litigation in court, and
they use their
it's
money.
been since 2005.
Yeah. So they
Right.
did
Oh,
the
wow.
loan
Yeah,
money.
they gonna,
you know what I
the
mean?
loan money gonna wear you out in litigation pretty much.
Yeah.
So an new investor coming into Flint, and let's say, what would you recommend budget wise? Because we get calls in Detroit. Oh, I want to buy a house and bring Detroit back, and then I ask what's their budget, and they're like, I'm looking at something about 10 or 15,000, right? So, but a new investor, I'm coming in. I want a solid rental property. Something that's going to give me a decent return, maybe the $850 per month that you mentioned. What would you say my budget should be, and what part of Flint would you say I should buy in?
Okay, I probably would say you should buy in the 48503, pretty much towards the west side of the city. That's like off the Ballinger Road, Miller Road area.
Pull your
Court
maps
Street.
out.
Right.
Court Street. That area right there, you'll get a nice bang for your buck.
Right. What
I'd
would you say the price would be all in for acquisition and repairs?
I probably would say about 40 or 50,000.
Okay. And that's about the
Coming to Flint
850.
tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. Now, if you are, going off market, everyone doesn't know exactly what market value is as of right now, since things have been changing. And so some people still think their homes are worth $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. So
Right.
you may be lucky to get a few people with that number, but for the most part, it is changing a little bit.
Okay.
So you speaking in terms of wholesalers.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So you still have the general public that's thinking their home is only worth 10,000. They get an offer for 10, they're happy.
They're happy.
But really, their home's probably worth 30 or 40.
Right.
That same home.
And
Okay.
so one of the things that happened when General Motors left, and then also the land bank took over a lot of homes.
Right.
Most people were asset rich, but broke in a liquidity way.
Right.
And so they still don't know exactly the value of their home just
Wow.
because no one's told them. They aren't receiving any letters in the mail.
Right.
And so they don't know the activity
They are
that's
now.
going on.
Right.
And
about
then,
to-
you know, Zillow
Say about
doesn't
the flood.
update anything really.
Right.
So they're going off of an old lead, and we were like, you know, that's not what it is currently.
Okay. So what? Wow. So you said when Jim left, so a lot of people were just kind of like in the dark, like whatever happened, our houses went to crap as far as values, and they never thought twice about it.
Right. Right.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's interesting.
That is.
Yep.
I mean,
So we talked about wholesalers. What are like some of the realtors doing? Nobody's really putting it out there that these were home values are worth.
Yeah, but the realtors, at least in my opinion, the ones that I somewhat work with,
Right.
You make more money from an investment standpoint.
Right.
And so, I mean, of course, we can go out and sell real estate, but it's only like $500 here, you know,
Right.
$1,000, $1,500. Yeah, it adds up, you know, over
Right.
time. But if I can do the same deal and I make 15 off of it, or
Right.
you know, 10 off of it, then you know that looks a little bit more appealing than
Okay. So it's more investor friendly than retail. For
right,
most part.
right, because it's still somewhat of a renter's market.
Okay.
It's slowly making its change so where you can do some flips.
Okay. What? Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. You mentioned because when I did my research before we came on here, I seen some $300,000 sales in different pockets. Where are some of the neighborhoods or areas that somebody may be spending $200,000 or $300,000? Where would they move to?
Okay, most likely it's gonna be over in the college culture area. That's right by Mott,
Okay.
Mott Community College. It's also close to downtown.
Okay.
And so that's where most people are going to, because it's professors and so forth that's actually purchasing those properties.
Right.
Anyone who pretty much works at GM, all of them live on the outskirts of the city.
Okay.
So like I know my father, he has his house is out in Swartz Creek.
Okay.
And, you know, yeah, but he bought his home back in 2010.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he paid 70. Yeah, paid 70 for his house.
Right.
Now it's worth 240. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot different.
Downtown Flint, what's that like? Because you said that's where, you know, the values are at. So
Right,
I want to
right.
come to Flint. I'm going to go downtown.
It's pretty much cornered already. So Downtown Development Authority has pretty much bought up everything down there, and I'm trying to think of his name right now. I'm having somewhat of a smart brain fart, but he owns Diplomat Pharmacy. Is going to come back to me.
Okay.
So he also got stuff on the stock market. His company is public, and so he partnered with a few other individuals, created Downtown Development Authority, and they pretty much bought up everything down there.
Is it vibrant? Like, you know, you go down there and it's not like a ghost town, tumbling weeds. You got people sipping coffee, walking their dogs, running.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Somewhat like downtown Detroit, you definitely see a total
Okay.
difference.
So y'all got like pet salons.
We have one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they coming.
Oh yeah.
coming.
You got a
Yeah.
pet salon.
Yeah.
You get the Starbucks. What,
You been
bike
downtown
lane.
Ann Arbor?
Yes.
So I feel like it's like Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
somewhere
You know
in
what I'm
Arbor.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the
You
college.
got that college vibe.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
a college vibe
Yeah.
because you got U of M down there.
Right.
You also have an extension of Eastern. You have an extension of MSU. You got an extension of CMU. You got Baker. So all that is downtown.
Right.
So,
So
what's
most
the
of the
demographic? What's the demographic for a person moving in there? Or
Yeah, because you got all those extensions, so the colleges, and then I know all the EMU students, they not even going to school. No, I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke.
Hey, you know
So
what?
I guess if I had to put a demographic on it, it's probably about 65, 70% black, and then everything else is mixed in from there. But yeah,
Dang, I
That's-
thought it was different. Yeah, I would have thought
Yeah.
it was. Oh. But I had a question. So, what banks are y'all using down there?
that's directly downtown.
Yeah, or no, in Linden.
Okay.
Because we're talking about Linden.
Price points, yeah, and all of that.
Talking about.
So Huntington is definitely working their magic within the city.
Right.
Team One Credit Union, and then Elga Credit Union, and Dork Financial Credit Union. They're all have their hands
great
inside of the city.
question.
Them are Flint Bank. Credit Union.
Yeah, and not
Except
all of
like,
them. Yeah, but I thought it was a good question because, I mean, you asked it because it's hard to get mortgage companies to do under 50,000, right?
Right. And then some of the banks, they had the community reinvestment where they had to come back into certain areas
Right.
and invest. And Huntington was big on that too.
But so people that have blemish credit, are they able to get those loans directly through the banks and credit unions?
They're able to get them, yes. There may be a coaching process, you know, to get it. But yes, your day.
I love all his lingo. It's like it's a coaching process. So like I'm still in it right now. I'm
Right.
taking notes, like because I deal with and I have to coach a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you see Michigan come out with them programs and they had them zip codes, they always have Flint have them parked in there because they're like, we got to get more homeowners
Right.
over here. So
I see them all the time as well.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunity zones.
yeah.
I mean, I just feel like, and then the rest. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm interested in this restaurant, and I'm interested in this I'm super interested in this trucking company,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
right?
Your restaurant is in Flint and
And Grand Blanc.
Grand Blanc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting ready to be real close to us soon.
How our restaurant is, it is called Crazy Legs. The website is crazylegsmi.com.
Okay.
So you're able to go on there. But everything in our restaurant is air fried.
Okay.
So we don't dip anything in grease. We have 6 signature sauces. We sell chicken wings, chicken sandwiches, turkey legs, pizzas. It's pretty much the whole 9 yards. We do salads, smoothies. So yeah, and those both in Flint as well as in Grand
Y'all can
Blanc.
still afford wings.
I'm sorry.
Y'all can still afford wings.
The shortest.
I mean,
Wings
y'all
and
need to
gas.
move over the legs. They're gonna be what you said is called crazy legs. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a it's like, no.
Yeah.
like the inflation is crazy.
It
Yeah.
definitely is. And then, I mean, we had to figure out a few different things, especially during COVID. It was a shortage of chicken wings, so we had to figure out a different way to still be profitable and draw people in. So that's when we started adding different items to the menu. So we specialize in wings and then also loaded fries.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds like a winner.
So it sounds like if someone wants to open a business or invest in real estate, there is a demand there and there's consumers there
Yes.
that would support it.
Most definitely.
Right. Okay.
I think you could do anything in Flint, in my opinion, as long as you got the right marketing strategy, and you're willing to think outside the box.
Right. The media had us believing like, oh, the water's bad, everything's a ghost town, everybody's moving and abandoning their houses. And I'm like, nah, that ain't it.
It's not it at all. Yeah.
So people, Flint people, they just stuck it through and made it work.
Yeah, because everybody don't have the resources to move.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
some people actually have to suck it up and deal with it.
Right.
And so the people that are there are the ones who actually had to do that.
Right.
So
But even the people that had the resources like yourself, it seemed like you just stuck it out
Right.
and figured it'd get better.
right. My situation was a little different,
Right.
only because right before the water crossers came out, I moved right back to Flint.
Okay.
And so I had been gone for 9 years. Prior to then, I had lived in Louisiana. That's where I went to college at.
Okay.
And then I moved over to Dallas. And then from there, I ended up moving to Vegas. This was because of my hospitality career.
Okay.
So it took me to those different places.
Okay.
So when you moved back to Flint, then the water crisis happened. What was you thinking? Like, damn, I came back.
Yeah, that's exactly what popped up. I'm like, dang, I came back and now this happened. But then it
Yeah.
also stuck in my head. I'm like, wherever it's tragedy, it's also opportunity.
Exactly.
That's
And
true.
So
Yep.
I was like, why not pick up on some of this inventory right
Right.
now and, liquidate a little bit later? Because my ultimate goal, I'm playing Monopoly in real life. And
Yep.
so I want to own a hotel. I
Okay.
still work in hotels. And so that's what I'm looking to do ultimately.
All right. Well,
Okay.
we
They got
some
the 4
investors.
houses, and now you're going to the hotel.
Yeah, go to the hotels. The motel and Holiday
Can we
Inn.
get on these trucks?
Yeah, so I only have one truck, and I partner with my brothers. We did that just because we wanted more passive income. We saw what the trucking industry was doing during COVID and how it's a shortage of 150,000 drivers. So that's making rates go up with everything, because it's not so many drivers in order to move freight.
Right.
So why not be on the other end of that, getting the freight money? So that's how I looked at it. And then also I have a cousin that live in Texas who has 2 trucks. And he was like, we'll help you through the process with it,
Right.
I'm like, okay, it's a done deal. And because I have somebody here who's able to help me. The pandemic helped a little bit because I call it the bandemic.
Yeah.
So
sure was.
that helped a little bit.
Right.
And so with a little bit extra cash, was able to throw it over to that side and, have that work itself out.
We got the pandemic.
Right, right.
We got
Yeah.
Flint got their own. They got all their own names. Chatty, and
Yes.
what else?
What does that
A
mean?
lot of things.
Chatty mean like you whack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Are you chatty?
Yeah.
Did y'all all have all y'all names on the chrome on the side of y'all car?
Now,
Bree.
some people did.
I
or,
bet they
like
did.
Bree.
Yeah, sounded up good rolling through the neighborhood.
Okay, I mean, all right. What have we learned today, guys? Before we wrap this up.
Need to get down there to Flint.
Yes.
If you buy and hold, I think. I don't know about
Yeah, buy and hold or invest in. I have partners that I work with throughout the city in pretty much every facet.
Right.
And so if you're looking for something, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
And I'd definitely be able to point you in the right direction, whether it's someone on my team or someone I work with personally. I definitely will be able to connect those dots.
You connected with quite a few wholesalers too that
Yes.
that send you stuff because they have no clue about Flint.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good
Yeah, I
friend.
get stuff across my desk all the time about Flint. I'd be like, it's well outside of my, expertise.
So you was working with E Friday,
Yep. He reached
good
out
guy.
often. Yeah, him and I did a few deals together, and I tell him if I don't have anyone on my end, I'll pick it up from you.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
I like that.
yeah.
Right. Yep.
That's a win-win.
True. Okay, so it's a good time. Shaka is saying to go and buy and hold. I'm
Right.
seeing some flip opportunities based on what I'm seeing on the MLS. Like you said, the
Yeah.
higher sale prices are shooting up. If you are a flipper, so like for me, if we can, I love the under $100,000 all in personally.
Yeah.
So I saw some stuff there. And you know what? I did have a question.
Yeah.
In terms of like a stigma that you would like to publicly denounce, like people are saying this about Flint is just not true, or maybe it has drastically changed. Like, what is that?
The biggest thing that people know Flint for is the water, and then second it would be for violence. Everywhere is not bad in the city of Flint, and so I would just the biggest thing. I think people would just need to come see for themselves
Right.
how Flint is. It's not all bad. You can definitely have a good time down there going downtown. It's a college scene, so you're able to turn up, mingle, and so forth. And then also with the water has changed a lot. And so they have different treatments that they've been doing with the water and doing different chemicals with testing and so forth. But make a long story short, The water's okay.
Right.
Yeah. The pipes have been changed pretty much throughout the city. I actually have a few pictures from when they were changing outside of our property. And so I was actually able to see that they did come in and do it. So not just saying it.
Right.
You know, I
Reggie gonna
actually
add
saw
some
it.
of them to the comments.
Right.
I mean, it's a good show.
Yeah.
I got a question real quick though.
Yeah.
So, all right, if you come in, so Jonnita said under 100. I think we need to be right at around 100, a little bit over 100, right? It's like at one. I'm just saying, lenders don't like to lend under 100. So, where would you go in that? I'm not talking about banks. I'm talking about private money lenders.
Like hard money lenders that do like a 75 minminimum.
Yeah.
And you still got enough room ARV to make a good profit.
Right. So if you came down there with about 125 to 150 all in, where would you be at?
Like as far as in the city wise,
Yeah.
you probably would be a little bit in the Mount Morris area.
Okay.
Because that still goes over to the 48504. So like the Hamady area, that's the high school I went to. That area is very stable. It doesn't move much. But the homes over there are probably about 40 years old, but they're all in very good condition.
Okay.
However, if you did go over there and renovate something or bought some land that's over there, I'm sure you could see north of, the 100,000s,
Right.
almost crossing into the twos.
Okay.
I will also say maybe in a 48503, you can get some areas right there off of Ballinger Road in a Miller Road area, traveling into over closer to the Powers High School area.
Right.
And it's crazy how they did that. So they moved Powers from actually it was in the hood. But Powers is the Catholic private school.
Oh, wow.
And so they moved it over to over by Kettering University. They also created another street over there. They also redid the highway right there.
Wow.
So, and so that you don't have to go directly into the city. You can just touch it and get out.
Right.
So they still call it Flint Powers?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, but it's right on the outskirts.
Right.
Yeah. It touches
we moving and we taking our freeway with us.
Yeah.
Basically, we taking the street with us and everything.
Yeah, and that touched 48507. 48507 touches up to Grand Blanc. And so that's, as you start getting further and further out, it's more and more nice.
And Money Row, what did you call it? Miller Row?
Miller Row matches.
Miller Row. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
All right, everybody, get your maps. You heard it. Rose gonna tell us where to find them at.
Your Instagram.
Instagram,
my
Facebook,
Instagram is,
email, telephone number.
Yeah, my Instagram is Realtor. And it's ro.realtor. Let's see. Not my Instagram, but
Facebook. You on Facebook still?
yeah, Facebook is Roemon Murphy. Is ROEMON MURPHY. I'm not related to Eddie at all.
Okay.
And then my email address is romon.dvp@gmail.com. I'm always on any one of those. You can reach me. My phone number is 810-516-8376. Feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text. And I definitely, answer any question that you may have.
Cool.
All right, cool.
So if you going to Flint, you got to check in with Ro.
Yep.
He ain't give out his MySpace because that's private.
That's
Everybody
right.
don't get the MySpace.